before. Now, what are the 7 C's of communication, and especially interpersonal communication? 1. You have to be considerate. That means first think that the other person is worth listening to. Best thing for communicating or listening to communication is being concrete about it, specific. When you're talking about a specific event, behavior, or thought, or a specific emotion, it is better understood. Rehashing is bad. Being concise, being simple, short and simple is very important. Now, when you're communicating, being courteous is very important, rather than being brash or being rash. Okay. Now, clarity gives speed to the communication. Okay. Distorted half information again acts as a barrier, so it's complete information that is needed. And what is important is correct information, not information with any kind of ulterior motive or wrong information, because that will break the belief, and the beliefs ultimately break the total communication. Now, this is commonly the process of communication that we know. There is a sender, there is a receiver, there is a medium, and there is a feedback, and in between are the barriers. Barriers of communication definitely work against you. Now, a study tells that 70% of the mistakes in the workplace are direct result of poor communication. In fact, many organizations have failed because of their wrong communication policies, because of distrust between people, because of distrust between top end and the lower end people, because of distrust between the teams, distrust between the work groups. Some kind of process of communication breakdown leads to major defeats even in wars. So, what are the essentials of communication when we are talking of just basics? What are the do's? First is use precise, memorable, and powerful words. Effective words that really give meaning to what you're talking about. Don't use roundabout phrases. If possible, support your words with visual aids, because visuals get directly communicated in the brain. In fact, visuals have long-lasting impressions on mind and are easily memorable or can be easily remembered. If possible to make a point, you can give certain examples. Maintain eye contact, because if you maintain eye contact, your trustworthiness increases. Active listening. Listen with eyes. Listen from within. Empathize. Be with the person. Be in his place. Try to understand his point of view. That is active listening. Now, what somebody has said, can you paraphrase it again? Okay, look, this is the way I've understood, so that you can get a feedback that it has been rightly understood. Then, one of the most important things in communication is the KISS principle. KISS principle means keep it short and simple. Don't make it too complicated. Anything that can be said straightforward is always liked by people, is always understood better, is always interpreted better, and it always goes to the mind. Avoid interrupting again and again or external interruptions, because interruptions cause communication distress and ultimately miscommunication. Your communication has to be supported with right kind of body language, right kind of facial expressions, right kind of gesture, posture, and so on. Because in fact, more than 95% communication is being done non-verbally rather than verbally. So if you are with a person, your body language will tell him whether you're right or wrong. So it's important to have the right body language. And when we are talking, all affirmative head nods are needed, because if you understand, you have to tell the person you understand. So try to show affirmation at every stage. Now, what are don'ts? Do not use too much of technical terms and terminologies not understood by majority of people. Okay. That at times shows that you really don't want to communicate, you want to show your expertise. Now don't speak too fast or too slow. There is a speed which needs to be adopted when you're talking to people. If it's too fast or too slow, can always cause disturbance to the listener. Don't speak in inaudible surroundings, as you won't be heard. So try to see that external disturbance is very little or zero. And do not assume everybody understands you to so make a point many times before and get a nod from the person. Feedback is essential. And again, when you are listening, do not interrupt the speaker very often. It is important to interrupt only when you really don't understand any point, or you can wait for it as and when needed. Now, before communicating, ask yourself, why are you communicating? What is the main purpose, main aim? Who will receive it? What is his personality? What is his level of understanding? Is he trained technically or not? So what is the language to be used with him? Okay. Now, what is likely to be the attitude of the listener? Is he ready to listen to you? Ready to understand you? Ready to be with you? Very important to understand. How much does he need to know? No, don't over-communicate or under-communicate. Is my timing right? Am I giving the message the right time, or am I talking to somebody who's involved somewhere else at that point of time? Now, what is the main subject? Have I prioritized the points? What I want to make clear? Very important. Because at times we speak everything except the points which are very necessary, which are very important. Now, is there any ambiguity in communication? Is my communication ambiguous, or I am being very clear? So, thank you very much for this session. What we have talked about is just the basics so far. Now we'll be talking in the next section on something that is very, very important. That is, these days we are on electronic communication almost all the time. So do we have those etiquettes where we actually can communicate telephonically or on mobile or any other device today, or when we are connected to people face to face? Now here it is very important. Certain points, note it down, because you might be facing a lot of telephonic interviews in days to come. You might be conveying messages on telephone because people may not have time to come and talk to you. See, even business conversation is done on phones, on networks, on WhatsApp, on Viber. These days we are talking of telecasting almost all the time. We have meetings on internet. So now what is important is, first be prepared and plan your conversation. Just write down all the points. Okay, when you come actually into important conversation, then just close down all the work and then start doing it. And always keep a pen, pencil or note paper handy, because you might need to note down something. Just don't wait for taking important numbers on any other mobile or something like that. Now, when you're answering a phone call, answer promptly within 3 rings. Don't wait for a long time, because these days people get the caller's name on their systems, and so more than 3 rings means you're trying to avoid. Now, don't give that message to anybody unless you want to do so. You see, when you pick a phone and answer, smile, because caller will hear a smile in your voice. You see, your tone, your enthusiasm, your natural attention, respectful things are shown in the tone itself. People don't have to see you before they can interpret you. You see, your voice tells them everything. Okay. Greet the caller, identify yourself, your business, and then you can ask that, how may I help you? What can I do for you?